not too far away. Onto the culture corner now. Satirical or stereotypical? What did the Netflix rom-com You People got wrong about Jews? Or was it us people who didn't get it? From New York City, joining us, Allison Josephs, founder and executive director of Jew in the City. Hello, Allison. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight. So, smearing the wrong side of the bagel here? Give us the gist. What is this movie all about? Or at least, what was the intention?
Yes, so the movie is supposed to be about what happens when a white Jewish man falls in love with a black Muslim woman. What they say is that it's meant to be satire, to point out the foibles on both sides of different communities. But what ends up happening, and what I think is the basic premise of where this goes wrong, is that black culture in this movie is loved and celebrated. And that's beautiful. The black community should feel great about who they are. But everyone in the movie hates Jews and hates Jewish culture. And it's very obvious with how it's set up. There are cheap and lazy jokes about, rich Jews and Jewish guilt, and then some really grotesque ones like everyone at synagogue is a pervert. Then we get to Holocaust jokes where a ring that is smaller than he wishes he could afford will just become his grandmother's Holocaust ring because, the Holocaust is the Jews get out of jail free card. Again, completely minimizing Jewish pain. When the families meet, that's when the conspiracy theories start to come in, and that's where it gets dangerous because we're essentially told that Jews have this outnumbered role in the slave trade. We are shown that the Holocaust is not as atrocious as slavery. And then when the Cohens, the Jewish side, tries to defend themselves, that they worked hard for their money, as you hear Jews do, what is revealed is that it's not just the father's a doctor, not just his father's a doctor, but his father's father's father is a doctor, which completely erases the fact that Jews came to America fleeing Cossacks, Nazis, or Mid-East exile, in most cases penniless.
And obviously it's not coming out in a void, considering the current political climate where anti-Semitism is somewhat paving its way to mainstream to an extent. You're suggesting it's not just not funny, it's actually dangerous.
Well, so the Muslim family here are actually Nation of Islam devotees. Farrakhan is put up on a pedestal. Jonah Hill's character Ezra talks about how great Farrakhan is. In real life, the leading lady, Amira, Lauren London, her longtime boyfriend was eulogized by Farrakhan a few years ago at his funeral. So the leap between Farrakhan in the movie and his conspiracy theories to the real life actors and what they believe in real life is not so far. For me, the worst thing, and I'm, as on a Jewish platform, I want to say this. There are multiple Jews that are writing into us that they're having visceral reactions to this. By the end of the movie, Ezra is denigrated and degraded. He's shown to essentially be a whoring, drug-doing fool who soils his pants when he's doing cocaine. And a pathological liar. And the vitriol was so intense as I watched this part. I thought, what could possibly be the reason for making this character so low? And I looked at Farrakhan's own words. He talks about how the Jewish movie mogul has denigrated and degraded the black man in his films. And I feel like this is payback. I feel like this is a chance to make the Jew the denigrated, degraded lowlife. And Jonah Hill, unfortunately, participated in this.
But Allison, isn't there something powerful about owning or reclaiming stereotypes as a way to address how false they are?
So here's the thing. This movie has gotten over 55 million watch hours on Netflix as of a few days ago. I'm sure it's much higher by now. The channels that we're doing, the interviews that we're doing, the few Jews that are speaking up on this, and people are scared to talk about this topic because it's in the race space and nobody wants to come off as racist or be perceived that way. So most Jews are not defending themselves. We do not have the chance to counter the claims that are made. Jews having this role in slavery is not countered in the film. Jews having success and privilege all the way back, not countered. At the end of the film, the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character apologizes on behalf of all white people and all Jewish people. Again, there's not enough of a conversation saying why that's wrong. Amira can't get a job due to racism, but Ezra knows a guy, Rick Feingold, who can get her a job because Jews are so connected, and that's all we do, use our connections to get jobs. There's not enough of a mainstream conversation countering all of these falsehoods, and I think that's what the problem is. If we had a chance for 55 million views to say this, maybe we'd get to compete. But as we both know, Jews are a small people, and we don't have that many supporters. So this is actually dangerous because it just normalizes Farrakhan views.
So in the brief time we have left, Allison, how can culture fight back if that's not the way to make stereotypes present, and by that countering them? What's the way out here?
Okay, so my organization launched the first and only Bureau for Jews, Hollywood Bureau for Jews, last year. What we discovered is that every marginalized group has had a Hollywood Bureau for decades, if not many years, where they are meeting with studios in Hollywood to advocate for authentic and fair depictions. It's why we've seen Muslim characters no longer be terrorists most of the time. It's why we're seeing Black characters that are sometimes the academic people in the family. There are more and more opportunities for this for other groups. We are now working to do this for the Jewish community as well, because Jews control Hollywood. No one ever did this for Jews before. But I mean, anti-Semitism is getting to the point now where we must fight.
Yeah, being perceived as so privileged that it's triggered being underprivileged. Allison, Josephs, thank you so very much for this. It's been a pleasure.